Hello, this is Andre Sanchez. This is for FSC 2601 uh, by Professor Mary Rutan. Um, Today I will be talking over my Grief Media project about a character from Twin Peaks named Leland Palmer. She is dead, wrapped in plastic. These are the first few words at the beginning of the pilot episode of Twin Peaks. These words describe the deceased 17-year-old Laura Palmer found dead in the Pacific Northwest. Laura Palmer was the daughter of Sarah and Leland Palmer. For this Grief Media project, we will be focusing, of course, on Leland Palmer, and we will be examining his erratic behaviors, coping with his grief. It is also important to give out the outstanding performance of Ray Wise, who is portraying Leland Palmer in both all three seasons, and of course the movie Fire Walk with Me. However, that is a different turn that we will get into. But first, who is Leland Palmer? Leland Palmer is an attorney to Benjamin Horne, a CEO of Horne Industries and owner of the Great Northern Hotel. We first see Leland with Benjamin Horne in the first episode trying to close a deal to foreign businessmen. He is a white American male. He's married to Sarah Palmer, and he has one daughter, Laura Palmer. In the first 10 minutes of the episode, we see Leland getting the news broken to him by Sheriff Harry S. Truman, relaying the news of his daughter's tragic death. He drops the telephone and bursts into tears, shouting, "My daughter is dead." Leland's grief reaction, we see it throughout the first season and half of the second season. It is a complicated grief reaction. One of the most important and most iconic scenes is in the third episode of the first season. It is titled Zen or to Catch a Killer. Leland is seen dancing with a framed photograph of Laura. His wife, Sarah Palmer, tells Leland to stop, but Leland tunes her out and keeps on dancing until he accidentally breaks the photograph, cutting himself in the process, while having a nervous breakdown. In the next episode, we see Leland and Sarah attending Laura's funeral. When the casket is being lowered at the gravesite, Leland collapses on top of the casket crying, basically casket diving. Throughout the first season, we see Leland's mental state suffer a lot. One of the main things that we see him is he has a manic episode singing Maresy Dotes, which is an old tune sung by the Pied Pipers. At the start of the second season, Leland's hair turns white. And of course, according to the National Institute, the sympathetic nervous system reacts by producing noradrenaline, causing the hairs to gray. However, because this is a show made for television, this is greatly exaggerated. They dyed the actor Ray Wise's hair white to portray how much stress he's going through from the death of his daughter. Now, we kind of see in the episode 11, we see Leland give a speech voicing his grief and loss. He says, "Have you ever experienced absolute loss? It is deep down inside. Every cell screams and you can hear nothing else." This reminds me a lot of what Sigmund Freud says about what he's in Mourning and Melancholia. He says, "In mourning, it is the world which has become poor and empty. In melancholia, it is the ego itself." It sort of reflects on what he's saying, but it's up to interpretation. Leland fits very well into the category of Lindman's grief system. For instance, the preoccupation of the image of the deceased, like I said before, the whole dancing with the photo until he broke it, triggering moments could seen when he was dancing in the lodge and him breaking down and crying. And one of the other things is that we find out that he is guilty because of the murder. Spoiler alert, yes, he did murder his own daughter. One of the reasons is called Leland was possessed by malevolent spirit named Bob, ultimately possessed to kill his daughter. Throughout the show, Leland transforms into Bob until he is killed by the said spirit. When Bob leaves Leland's body to possess another person, Leland realizes what he's done and he pleads for forgiveness and dies because of the spirit. Because Leland has the spirit inside of him, he does kill another character, which is Jacques Renault, which is one of the suspects for Laura Palmer's death. The thing is that with loved ones who still remain when their loved one dies of murder, the person is trying to seek revenge or trying to seek retribution. Leland does do that by, of course, killing Jacques Renault. And having a loved one die tragically from murder, it usually leads to anger. What kind of counseling I would suggest for Leland is client-centered counseling. Leland will have to work through all of his manic episodes and guilt through what he has done, so he can adjust to the real world. And was Leland in a crisis? Yes, Leland was in a crisis. He couldn't function at all at his workplace, at home, including with other guests. He would mostly pass out or just have convulsions. Trying to cope with the loss of Laura really was hard on him. If you see, I didn't want to talk about the movie because that's a totally separate subject. The reason why I decided to bring it is because you can see him acting a bit like himself in some scenes. However, in other scenes you can see that the spirit Bob is taking over from him. The reason why I didn't want to talk about it is because the director David Lynch actually blurs the line between the spirit world and reality, which makes it a lot more confusing from the show to the movie. In conclusion, Leland Palmer is suffering from the death of Laura Palmer. She was found in a rocky beach wrapped in plastic. Leela, throughout the first half of the second season, fails to come to terms that his daughter is dead. Later, in the second season, the audience finds out that Leland killed Laura Palmer due to an evil spirit named Bob, who possessed Leland when he was a boy. Leland comes to terms with the murder and reunited in the afterlife with Laura. Basically a happy ending. Thank you so much for this, for giving me the time to talk about this. You all have a great day.